here we are. Unfortunately, a little late.
Some technical difficulties, sorry.
Well, it's more
Sorry.
family difficulties, let's say.
Family difficulties. Routine.
Good evening, everybody.
Hello, everyone.
How are we doing?
Midweek. Happy hump day.
Yeah.
Almost the end of the week.
Is it?
Yeah. Do you not know hump day? It sounds wrong, but it's not.
Yeah, I know. I was going
It's
to say.
like the back of a camel, right?
Right.
So like when you say hump day, it's like
heard that
it's
differently.
dipped. You've already got into the.
I now get it. Yeah,
middle
you're
of the
halfway.
way.
Ouch. Oops.
Trust me, the first time I saw it, I was like, what? Hi guys.
Hello, Geneva, Tanzania, Maryland. Amazing. Welcome again. Now, let's start with our routine, maybe.
Mabel said, did I make it Adanna? Yes, you did.
So let's start with our routine. We have, of course, our weekly wine with us today. So we're going for... Sorry?
You make it sound like we just constantly just drink wine.
No, but on the Wednesday, for the live video we are.
Okay.
I mean, I think this is an Argentinian wine. Dada, I think. Is it? Yes, product of Argentina.
You didn't open it before now?
I did not. No, I wanted to, do it live, like live action.
No, but this is not champagne.
Sorry. Anyway, we're going to go ahead.
Hi.
Yes, Adanna is looking very pretty this evening. I do
Thank
agree.
you.
Sweden. Wow.
Grazie.
South Africa,
Merci
of course.
beaucoup. Thank you. Dalu. Dankeschön.
Oh, wow, look.
Oh.
Gigi is saying we are watching as a couple today. It's 4 p.m. here.
Oh, hello.
Very good.
This topic, well, every topic is for couples, but particularly this one, guys.
I think you're going to
feel
love
like
that.
everybody watching has been guilty of one of the things we're going to address in this video.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be
Including me.
very revealing.
Very
All of us are going to learn a lot today. Let's just say.
revealing.
All right. As always, guys, we're just going to give 1 or 2 more minutes to everybody because A, we were late, so it's our fault. Apologies. And of course, we always just give everybody a bit more time to tune in. So first off, though, to ourselves and to everybody on the video. Give myself my glass. All right. There we go. Oh, so happy Wednesday. Prost to another Wednesday live video.
That didn't go well.
That
You're supposed to look at me.
I know. I just want to make sure that I hit the glass right.
You're supposed to look at me.
I know.
Otherwise, 7 years of bad
Oh
sex.
no, that's not gonna happen. I'm not gonna let that happen for sure. All right. So where we at? Yes. Okay. 1 more minute, guys, and then we're gonna get right into it. As always, by the way, obviously, please make sure if you are not already subscribed to our channel, if you wanna be one of the first ones to watch our videos and always know when we upload, please make sure to subscribe. And we will also, as always, keep questions for the end. So please make sure if you have burning questions, if you want to get our view on something, or just want to share something with everybody,
I
please
think we
keep it to
should
the end.
be intentional about taking a lot more questions today.
Will. Yes, we will.
So
promise.
let's look at the time, because most times we look at the time and it's like 52 minutes.
So we will talk less today and try to answer way more questions from you guys.
Yeah, to make it interactive. Like we want to even read out your experience.
Yes, absolutely. Perfect. All right,
let's get right into
we
it.
will start, I would say.
So today's topic is privacy in relationships. What is acceptable?
Yes.
And that can mean a whole lot of things. But specifically, when we say privacy, I'm specifically referring to sneaking up in your partner's business to kind of know if they're legit. We've all been there.
Have we?
We've all been there.
Have we though?
I'm gonna confess at some point in this video, but
Have we?
yeah, we've been there, and yeah, so we've gotten to a point or a stage in our marriage or relationship where we're very secure in each other. We trust each other, so there's been room to actually talk about these things, and we've recently actually faced a different sort of encroachment of privacy.
Well, let's just say
And
we had
I'm
a bit
like-
of an argument about something.
And I'm like, do you really think this is acceptable, David? Do you? But anyway, we're gonna get
Yeah.
there. So from the beginning,
yeah.
what's your take on,
About privacy. Jesus, what's my take? I mean, so a few kind of thoughts before we get into our examples is, I mean, of course, number one, this is something that I think every couple has to face and will face, regardless of, how early or late in a relationship or marriage you are, right? It's super important. It's one of those kind of key pillars of any relationship, right? So it is important to address. The second thought, obviously, is around, I mean, at the end of the day, it also depends so much on each individual. Everybody has a different kind of view on it. And I think the view or the way you look at it is strongly influenced by your own experience growing up, right? So I think, for example, somebody who has never maybe gone through a particular heartbreak or was maybe treated in a certain way is obviously going to be much, much less suspicious and sort of investigative, let's say.
Yeah, sorry, I have to excuse myself.
That's okay.
My allergies are acting
it's
up.
allergy, yes. So obviously they're less kind of suspicious and investigative. So I think also experience, of course, shapes a lot of how you look at kind of, okay, what's acceptable when it comes to privacy and, whether, for example, you share passwords to everything or not. Like those things that I think, come a lot from like, well, I had this one time when, X, and when I then eventually checked that account, I suddenly saw Y,
Yeah. I mean, but this is not the first thing you kind of discuss when you start dating,
of course,
right?
of course.
You don't really say, oh, are we going to be very open? Are we going to share passwords? Are we going to do X, Y, Z? You really just generally don't do that because you're kind of getting to know each other. I think the insecurity, because that is exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Trust me.
It is.
I've taken my time to reflect on why people do this. The insecurity that you will face eventually. It depends on. It starts when you've made the conscious decision to commit to each other.
Yeah.
Right? And I think rather than speaking hypothetically, I'm going to use my personal example and use myself. So I wouldn't have worried about privacy in relation to dating you until we then said, oh, we're going to be exclusive.
Right. Okay.
And obviously my antennas were like, uh-oh, let's do some background work.
Really?
No, obviously, so my own, background work, obviously I'm not a hacker. It's not like I ever hacked into any of your Facebooks or anything like that. But I will admit, of course, that I did go through your phones.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, I did go through your phone, particularly at a time that I knew that you wouldn't be with your phone, in which case that was me sneaking to kind of see stuff. True. And that was very early on in our relationship.
Yeah.
And like David said, it's usually a projection of an experience you would have had in a previous relationship. So my thing is, like, I would have dated somebody who, when I did look in his phone, I found things that literally made my eyeballs drop from the socket. I was like, WTF is this? But anyway, so obviously with all of that in the background and now dating you, I'm thinking, we better do some looking.
Absolutely.
So for me, the question now, I mean, obviously, when I then looked, there was nothing to find, but I'll come to the details of that. But see, the question is, should you even look at all?
True.
I think that's the first general question, because obviously, if I use the example of my ex-boyfriend, I looked and I found. When I looked into you, I looked and I didn't find.
Yeah.
But the fact is, I looked.
Yeah, look,
Before I then concluded, well, this guy's a stand-up guy. He's even actually boring. Like, why is nobody...
Oh, wow.
I'm joking.
Ouch.
I'm joking.
So you wanted some sort of bit of spiciness no matter what. This guy's boring. Can you imagine?
I'm literally joking because
I'll
tell you.
It's okay.
No, I'm joking.
It's okay.
But anyway, so I did find, and then that brought me to the question of, if I was to give an advice, like, would I tell somebody who's just started a relationship, if you have the opportunity, go digging? Or does that set you up for failure from the beginning, meaning that you don't trust the person? I mean, what's your take on that?
It's like microphone. I generally, and again, if there are any guys watching as well, you might disagree, but that's okay. I generally always am of the opinion, if you have nothing to hide, then there's no problem, right? especially or maybe predominantly when it's in the beginning of a relationship. Now, I can understand if, for example, over time you've kind of proven yourself, right, and your partner has kind of, you know, kept on like say, digging and like keeps doing it. At some point, maybe you're like, okay, do it like, oh, obviously, you know what.
But how would you know they're digging?
No, I mean, assuming this is one of those cases where, like, let's say they ask you, okay, like, what's your password, or can, you know, do we have access to X, for example, you know?
Okay.
I'm assuming that now. I mean, if it's obviously secret, then you don't know for sure. But my point is, if in the beginning, the person you are dating or you're interested in kind of really wants that, let's say, clarity and like wants to check you out, I don't think there should be anything wrong with that, right? Because again, otherwise you have something to hide. I don't feel this. This is a legitimate kind of, for me at least, in my personal opinion, a legitimate kind of, okay, I need that kind of security, you know, because there are just, let's be honest, there are enough people who are playing, you know, around, which at a certain age group is okay, you know, to some degree, or at least is kind of, is unfortunately normal, you can argue, right? But at some point, depending on the seriousness you take a relationship, that has to stop.
Yeah.
Right? So I can understand if in the beginning of a relationship, whichever side wants to kind of really be sure that this is serious, wants to do some digging. Okay. But of course, there's an element where I can kind of see where in some relationships at least, if that kind of continues over a period of time when you shouldn't really be suspicious anymore, that person has proven themselves, like to kind of like every kind of check in, all these kind of details, like, okay, so show me this message, show me, do me this. And it's like, okay, I can, but at some point I would like to also gain for you to show me that I have gained some level of trust, you know, that you don't need to do this like every single time anymore, right?
Well, I'm gonna agree to disagree, particularly with that, because I feel like, okay, I'm gonna talk from a female perspective. You talk from a male perspective, okay?
That's all we can do.
That's all we can do. From a female perspective, I feel like a woman who's okay, you know, not crazy or anything, like a woman who is okay, will not continuously keep digging if she hasn't found anything to make her keep looking.
True.
And I'm using myself for an example, right? So when you're saying, well, you know, if you keep digging, at some point it's like, oh, you should give me the trust, whatnot. No, honey, if you behaved in a way that was trustworthy, I will not be all up in your business.
But don't you think there are some partners though, and whether both male or female, by the way, who almost regardless have this kind of just like constantly being suspicious of stuff, like, you know what I mean? Like regardless of what you do, almost like they would generally have this kind of.
I think those people are few, and these are people where it's a personality thing, where some people really, because of issues they've not resolved, really they self-sabotage. When they see that something's going well, they think about, okay, it just happens, like they just self-sabotage. But all things being equal, I just don't want to believe that a woman, because I'm going to use myself as the example for a lot of women, I don't think that we're going to keep looking constantly if you're not giving me, if the slate is clean, at some point I'm going to be like, you know what, that phone's there, it can be unlocked, you can stay there, I don't need to open it because I'm not going to find anything.
I've wasted enough of my time reading boring messages.
Literally. So if I was to answer the question I asked in the beginning is, yes, I would advise that you look. Because
that's okay.
You have all these phrases like, oh, if you look, you're gonna find, or if you do this, let me find. That's the problem.
Well, let me not find. No. Then I can put it to rest, right?
Or either way, let me not find. We can move on, or let me find, and I'll be like to the left, quickly. You know, quickly. I don't need to waste my time. So I would say, look. It then depends on the extent you go looking. So I'm not even trying to advise anybody to kind of get this, you know, FBI degree certificate. Like, it's not like you need to.
Now you're scaring me.
No, I'm not saying, I'm not training
sending anybody like a dad, like sending you to investigate your family.
I'm not doing that. But my thing is, like, so rather than, I mean, it depends on the degree, right? Everything is gray area when it comes to this topic. So I'm not going to say like start guessing passwords or start hacking or start looking like if the phone's there, for example, if the phone's there, it's open, it's the beginning of my relationship with you, honey, I'm going to touch your phone.
You know what?
Sorry.
That's okay. But I also think, by the way, it is way more revealing, not way more, but like it would also be really revealing to actually just put it to your partner or to the person. See how they react. I think their reaction will tell you a lot. It's one thing, of course, to do it kind of like try to find a way and secretly, which is okay. Yeah, in the beginning, if you really want to check somebody out, of course you want to do that, because if you announce it, they might obviously, if they had something to hide, they might try and delete it, right? Fair enough. But I also feel if you're good in observing people, just actually putting it out there, like, oh, hey, you know, in whatever way, of course, you talk to the partner, it depends really on the relationship you have with them. But like, literally, like, look, you know, just from a kind of, you know, relational point of view, a trust point of view for both of us, like, I'm very happy, of course, to give you my phone, but I think it would be good exercise for us. We might have both that sort of thought in our minds, but we don't really want to kind of speak out on it. But let me be the first one to say, like, I feel it would be a good exercise for both of us to be able to access each other's phone.
Okay.
Now, this sounds like a weird thing to some of you. That's okay.
Yeah.
But in the beginning of a relationship, to do that once, for example, trust me, the reaction of the other person,
But
I think, will tell you a lot.
I think
already.
you need to clarify what you mean by the beginning of a relationship. You need to clarify that, because I also don't expect that in the beginning of a relationship you need to like lay out all your cards, because even from a woman as well.
No. I mean, yeah.
For example, you're in the digital age of dating, where a lot of people are finding, you know, dates online on apps or whatever. Chances are that you're gonna let me finish.
Yeah.
Chances are that you're gonna find multiple people to go on dates with, right?
Yeah,
so if you then connect with one person, and then eventually you guys agree to be exclusive, and then it's like first couple of months into the relationship, then you can have that conversation. I think it's a lot clearer than the beginning of a relationship.
Of course. No, needless to say, obviously, I don't mean like if you've gone on a couple of dates or something, or you've just spent kind of the first few months. I'm thinking of, okay, you've really decided this is serious, number one, this is exclusive, number two, and I guess also like you potentially, from your own point of view, whoever wants to raise that kind of thing we just talked about, is actually looking at this, okay, this could be serious, maybe even kind of going all the way.
Yeah, you're
of
right.
course, I'm not saying if you're going on the third date with a person, that would be absolute, like, don't do that. That would ruin everything, right? That would be weird and just awkward.
Yeah,
you know?
that would be awkward.
No, I mean, like, if you generally have a feeling, hey, this person, this other side could actually be a really serious partner, then of course, yeah. That's a fair point.
So
fair point.
this is me confessing. So in the beginning, my hacking of all of your platforms.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
I'm kidding.
That was not part of this.
No, I didn't hack your platform. No, for example, like, you know, when you lived in Kenya and you come to visit me, and obviously sometimes you use my laptop. So either like you've logged into your Facebook or you've logged into your email, and I would just kind of do a quick search.
Okay.
That's
okay. Oh, wow.
And the reason why I would do the quick search is because David and I went to uni together.
Yeah. Okay.
So we were in the same circle.
Okay.
So I kind of knew who his ex was, and he knew who my ex was. And we kind of...
That's true.
We had things, and we had people that knew things. So for me, it was just, I need to know that it's completely finished on either side.
Yeah. Fair enough.
You know, and I didn't find anything. I suppose if we weren't in the same circle, like, it'd be crazy for me to even know what sort of keywords to put if you leave your Facebook unlocked.
Yeah.
Like, it's so weird. If I'm dating somebody randomly, like, what am I going to search? Woman, sex. Like, what are you going to search?
I know what you mean. Yeah,
you know?
true.
It's weird.
No names, no nothing.
No,
right?
no,
Like,
you literally have no names.
Yeah,
like, if someone's cheating on you, they can literally save the person's name as flower delivery. You wouldn't even know.
Oh, God.
So for me, I think it was because we had the same circle.
Yeah, of course. That helps in that sense. Yeah, of course. I mean, I think, the way we're doing it at the moment, right? Or for us, ever since, as Adanna said, I think obviously we've gone through that kind of process, and I think at a point where, there is nothing really we're hiding anyway. And if anybody wants, phone, of course, is a no-brainer. Yes, we both can access each other's phones.
Yeah, we have the
that's
passwords.
a no-brainer. We have the codes and passwords, but like even other accounts, we might not necessarily have like a list of everybody's password, which I don't think is necessary, by the way. Like, but
I don't think so.
But like if, for example, anybody, like there was a time I remember, like there were some emails that were coming in, for example, in Adanna's personal email inbox, and I asked her, okay, can you just give me? It's a no-brainer, or vice versa. If you need to check something on Facebook, it's just an absolute no-brainer. Like, yeah, here it is. Like that's what it is. There's no real. Oh no, I feel like this is kind of, this is why you're asking this now. Like that alone, that question is like, why should that be a problem? Like, I think we both are on the same page that, and we've heard other people say this, by the way, that no matter how good the relationship is, they generally, some people don't feel like it's okay or somebody's right to ask to access, let's say, an email account or Facebook account, But I just don't. I don't agree with that. I think, there should be no reason why your wife or husband, or at least a very serious partner of yours, who is potentially your spouse going forward, right? Should not be able to look at that. I really don't get that.
What though?
No, like that, like either a phone, a social media account. Like if there's a reason, of course, if they just say like, "Hey, I just want to read your messages," that's be like, okay, why are you suddenly But if there's a reason to say, "Hey, I need to check this email or something,"
yes,
that's different.
That's different,
right?
Yeah, that's different because even now that we're married, I still think it'd be so weird if you said to me, "Babe, just gonna go through your emails."
Oh, no, of course.
What are you looking for?
that I agree. But then again, like, why would that even go? Why would I even have that reason? So
yeah,
of course,
but you've had to maybe either take receipts to give the accountant, and
exactly.
you're like, "Oh, I need to get these receipts," and I'm like, "I think it's in my email." David's like, "I'm going up to the office.
Yeah.
Can I search your email real quick for the receipts?" I'm like, "Yes, that's fine. You can." But the email is, or the inbox is open in the office computer anyway. So that's to show that it's not a secret.
Yeah.
But so that's actually distinguishing privacy from secrecy, right? So it's not a secret because it's open.
Yeah.
But the privacy is, well, the fact that it's open doesn't mean that I have the right to just randomly go like, what has my wife been up to the whole week?
That's actually very interesting because I think that's a really important difference to understand between privacy and secrecy, right?
Yeah.
And privacy is generally speaking more something that, okay, you're just keeping to yourself in a way, like, you're keeping distance, or you just like be by yourself with thoughts or emails or messages, like, which is okay, right? But secrecy is more around you intentionally keeping something away from somebody, because there are two emotions that are attached to secrecy, which is shame or fear. So as soon as you feel either shame or fear of revealing something to your significant other, then this is secrecy. Right?
Yeah.
Privacy, like if, for example, if you ask, might not be a good example, but whenever, let's say, okay, you're asking to, okay, well, like, why are you trying to access this? Like, it's not like you're fearing or you're ashamed of whatever might be there.
Yeah.
It's just like, I just really don't understand. Like, there must, I just, for some reason, feel like I should be able to do this by myself or be on my own here, right? Then I think you yourself can know, like, hey, this is really for me just about privacy. I'm not trying to hide anything from you.
Yeah.
I don't feel ashamed of what you might find or see.
I'm not scared.
I'm not scared you might see this.
Yeah,
I generally just look at this as like, this should be my own space.
Yes,
right?
Of course.
So that's really, I think, for me, helped when I read this for the first time. I think it helped me understand it much better.
Yeah.
Secrecy is about shame or fear versus privacy.
Yeah. That's amazing. And I think every individual in a relationship deserves their privacy. Yeah. So like we said, passwords, everything is open everywhere, but we don't go around every day sneaking up on each other, looking into our social media accounts. But I have to go back a step to say, well, we don't do that because we've already established trust in the relationship.
Of course, yeah.
So if you find yourself doing that at the beginning of a relationship, that's cool. That's cool. But if you find yourself doing this for, after how many months in a relationship, or for somebody who you're potentially going to spend the rest of your life with, you really should question the dynamics of that, because it's not healthy. It's simply not healthy, because it just highlights to you that there's no trust.
Yeah.
And it could be either you having trust issues, or the person has broken your trust and has not given you another reason to trust them. Yeah. So it however highlights that there is something going on which should be resolved, because once you then get together, it's not going to get any better.
And by the way, this also another thing, and then maybe also shortly we'll go through some questions, as we wanted to talk less today.
Oh, okay. I had another example.
Oh, no, please, okay. No, of course, go for it. The other thing I was going to say as well, this also brings back a topic that we emphasize so much and so many times, right? And everything. Yes. It feels like whatever we talk about, it definitely includes that as well. Privacy and this topic of what is acceptable also comes back so much about communication. We said earlier, like, for example, if you're asking your partner about accessing X, right? Whether it's a social media or phone, like, it makes all the difference when you're actually able to establish and explain why. and just put it out there. Like, if there's a good reason for it, then just say it. And then also, I think almost no partner should then have a problem with that, But of course, I can understand, or I think you said that as well. Like, if of course you just say, well, I just want to look through your Facebook, you're like,
then that's weird.
well, but I mean, okay, I generally have no problem with that, but like, it's a bit odd, or I really don't understand your motivation. Like, there must be a reason why you suddenly want to look through my Facebook, right?
Yeah.
Have I given you a reason for that? So again, I think being always establishing a good channel and understanding of each other's communication, let's say pattern or way of communicating, is so crucial in almost everything, including topics like privacy and sneaking up on each other, whatever you want to call it, right? So again, being able to talk to your significant other in a very clear way, that person to understand you as well when you say something. And look, let's not even lie. Like, of course, we still work on that, right? Every couple will continuously work on that. Like, you will never get to a perfect place, right? Where everybody knows every single word and phrase and tone, right? So everybody works on it. But knowing that it's important, I think that's our key always. Like, we know it's so important to be able to communicate clearly and understand each other, that we kind of, we pay attention to it, right? And we kind of work on it intentionally. So that's, anyway, that's what I was going to say.
So did you ever look through any of my stuff?
No. Certainly no. I mean,
damn it, why?
Let me think, actually. Let me not lie now.
Why, do you not think it was that interesting, guys?
I mean, did I? I really don't think so. Maybe like randomly when literally I don't know, you had given me a phone for something else or something, but certainly not with this kind of like, oh, I better need to check you out. Because to my point earlier around experience, I generally never had that experience. I was never, at least not until now that I know of.
Maybe you never knew.
Exactly. Maybe I just thought it was too naive, but like I never knowingly was cheated on, for example. I never had any sort of experience like this where I found something out on any channel or phone or anything.
Because you never looked.
Because maybe never looked. There you go. Maybe I was cheated on my whole life. Who knows? In every relationship I was in, where I was just like the naive, loving, romantic one. It was like,
the teenage
we
idiot.
love each other. No, I mean, as I said, yes, there were, but you know what? Of course, there were those. No, I definitely didn't
David,
sneak
confess.
up.
I know you want to say something.
No. I was just gonna say, of course, I had my moments when it comes to. I don't know why. I have this thing about exes. You know this, right?
Yeah.
Where I just really don't want to know anything about any. I don't know what it is. Like, it's not like I have any hate, or I just generally don't want to know about any exes. And there were moments where I just keeps on talking about like this thing. I was like.
No, I don't just.
No, not now anymore. Like that was early in our relationship, but there were some moments, let's say, where you kind of mentioned, I don't know, random things.
Yeah, it might have been a trip somewhere, and I'm obviously not gonna lie who I traveled to that place with, and I was like, don't want to hear anything about you.
Yeah, suddenly, like, I hate that place. If she said, oh, we went to, I don't know, what's a good example now? Singapore. Suddenly, I hate Singapore now. Suddenly. Like, I do not want to go with you to Singapore because all I can think of is like, you probably think about that memory with the ex, you know what I mean?
No, I'm telling you, let's go there to create new ones.
That is, of course, a very good point, but to get to that point is very difficult. So anyway, so the only thing I had was like, I really don't. That's funny, maybe the way I now, when I talk about it, I probably am almost the opposite, right? I rather not know a lot of this kind of old stuff, unless, of course, I would ever really genuinely have a good reason to suspect. But I would not out of the blue dig, because there are some things, right, that are just a bit uncomfortable to read as a partner.
I will read them.
But of course, if don't get me wrong, if there are blatant stuff where somebody is clearly flirting to other people.
Those blatant stuff if you don't look.
But unless I have a good reason that there's really serious stuff going on, right? I rather than don't know, like I said.
Look, we're not even here to give anybody any advice. I feel like there's no one size fits all. The fact of the matter is, your paranoia is going to come from two things. Yeah. One, your experience from a past relationship. Yeah. Two, the behavior of the person you're in a present relationship with.
Very good.
That's where your paranoia is going to come from. And if you then suspect, please dig. Yeah. That's all. That's what I'm going to... If you suspect anything, dig.
Exactly. And if your partner doesn't let you, then leave. If your partner doesn't let you, then leave. If he or she does not have anything to hide, then he or she should not have any problem. Well, if you explain it to them, again, don't just like blatantly say, I want access to all your accounts. Again, you need to be able to, explain it. Like, hey, this is the reason why I've gone through this. I feel strongly about this. It's important for me to if you do that, he or she should not have any hesitation to give you access to it.
Yeah.
Full stop.
Exactly. Okay,
Anyway.
just mindful of the time.
All
The
right.
next example. So David and I, we successfully conquered privacy as far as digital platforms, devices, all that stuff. Now there's a new elephant in the room that David and I are still working on conquering, and that is privacy as far as it comes to
Security cameras.
security cameras in the house. Okay, now I don't even want to go into all of
Let's
the
do it
detail
short
about
and
this.
sweet.
The short and sweet of the whole thing is there was so David, you guys know David's job. He manages sub-Saharan Africa, meaning that once every 3 months he travels to an African country. Once every 2 months he's in an African country. Okay, so he's away for a week at a time. It's been all good and fine. Let's just say it got to a point sometime last year when I think I was in the kitchen doing something, and then at the end of the day anyway, we tried to have a conversation about what happened.
Right.
And David he kind of just repeated everything to me that happened in the house. And I was like,
not everything. Like
Okay.
one or two small things. I was like, oh yeah, when you did this or something, you like,
guys,
huh?
I kid you not, right? David repeated. I was like,
How do you know?
literally nothing came to my mind. I was like, is this boy a witch? Like, how do you know what just happened? And then it clicked to me, the security cameras in the house. I was like, David, have you been watching us in the security camera? And he's like, oh yeah, sometimes I just like turn it on to see what you guys are up to. And that obviously was like the gateway to like a massive conversation that we had, because he got back home and I was like, okay, let's sit down and chat. Why do you think it's okay to kind of watch me?
Yeah.
And of course you came from a very okay, you can share your perspective. Yeah, what's your perspective?
So from my point of view, again, I was traveling on a business trip. I was sitting there in whatever, Lagos I think it was, or Cape Town at the time, in the hotel room. And it's true, I sometimes, not every day by the way, not all the time for sure, but sometimes in the evenings then, out of interest, there's an app, we have a security system that comes with an app. So I would go into the app, right? Because I miss you guys. Not at all because, for example, I suspect anything or, not at all. Like zero reason for that.
Yeah,
it was purely from like missing you guys, and I want to maybe see if I can, maybe the boys were currently with you in the kitchen or running around or God knows wherever the camera is, right? That was the only reason why. So there was one of those moments where I was completely shocked, honestly, till today, that Adanna was so almost taken back by it. I was like, no, but I miss you, like, because I love you so much and I miss you and I'm like, God knows how many thousand miles away. I want to see you guys. I want to see what you're up to, right? That was my explanation of the moment.
So this is my thing. My thing was, if you really miss us, you're free to chat.
Yeah.
You can video call me on
You
WhatsApp.
see, you don't always answer your phone when you're with the boys.
That's true.
You always leave your phone somewhere else when you're
Yeah,
with
because
them,
I have to be a mother.
which is good. But and I don't want to interrupt because I know how the boys sometimes get, but they get so excited then. So I don't want to interrupt. I just want to like kind of see for a few seconds, like, oh, they're fine, they're great, they're playing in the garden, and then move on.
Yeah. So anyway, this is still like a big. It's not even elephant in the room. Like we talk about it all the time.
We're not joking.
And we joke about it, and I laugh at the disbelief of how much David can't see how.
No.
I don't want to say unacceptable, but just uncomfortable it is for me. And he's laughing at the fact that I can't see how cute it is. I'm like, dude, if you want to be cute, like just video call me.
Yeah, but if you were available, like sometimes what you also have to know that when I'm on a business trip, or actually either of us is on a business trip, by the way, finding good time to talk is sometimes very difficult because we're in certain schedules. Like I oftentimes have evening dinners with clients, or we have events or something. So we usually only get sometimes a few minutes if we're lucky, and especially not always with the kids. Like I sometimes only come back to the hotel when the kids are already sleeping, so I would never get to actually see the kids. Right? So there might be a time in the whole week I'm traveling, there's only 1 day or two maybe where I actually get to speak video call with the kids, right? So that's also maybe something to be aware a little bit of. It's not like every day or like every morning and night, twice a day we talk to each other. Like it's also a bit restricted.
I think, well, for me personally, I think it's creepy. It's just like with the Facebook or like our digital platforms that can be open on the office laptop. Yes, it's open, but for privacy's sake, like I don't expect that it's open. So look into my inbox, even though I know there's nothing to hide. Because you can then say, well, since I know, there's nothing I have to hide.
No.
I have to ask them, why are you curious?
But it's not your personal. That's the thing. Is like in our joint house. If it was your personal, let's say in your room, for example, we don't have any cameras, of course, in our bedrooms. Obviously not, right? So there's not one of those dodgy, weird stuff. Like only in like general areas, So it's not like I'm sneaking up in a bedroom or something really weird stuff. Like it's kitchen, living room, like entrance or like random stuff wherever.
I don't know. Maybe people can tell us. Do you find this cute or creepy?
Yeah.
So
anyway,
cute versus creepy.
Okay.
That's
exactly. Let's jump into questions like with that point. So we'll start with that point. Give us your thoughts on whether you agree that as a husband or wife, it's okay to do kind of check on security cameras because you miss your family, or do you feel that's very creepy?
Yes,
So
please. I'd like to know so that I know if I'm like overthinking
I agree with David.
I'll be creeped out if you were a stranger.
And of course, I understand. Cute. Okay, creepy as fuck. Oh, sorry. Oops, I just said that. Cute. I think it's cute. I see David's point. Cute. I really do not see. Sorry, but it's creepy. Okay, fair enough. Oh, guys, you're quick. No.
I think it's both. People are like it's both.
It's a bit of a mixture.
People are saying it's both creepy and cute.
All right. Fair enough. I guess we just have to kind of find our own way.
My own way is in the last business trip.
Maybe I should text you when I do it. Like, no. Adanna, I'm about to now turn on the cameras.
Let me confess something. I think I already confessed it to you anyway. So
maybe not.
No, I did.
What?
Because, so it turns out, I was like, so that means all these business trips I've been watched, and I didn't know that. So
wait, hold on. 30 seconds a day.
Hold on. So the last business trip, at some point, David rang me. He's like, oh, babe, do you want to check the security system in the house? I think there's a problem. I actually disconnected it.
You did. I obviously noticed that. Are you joking?
I freaking disconnected it. So that's my own way of dealing with it. I'm like, boy, do not watch me.
Well, I guess this is just one of the things I have to accept. Maybe, but you also then have to work on being with your phone more.
Okay,
and sending me maybe videos or something, because I freaking miss you guys. So I don't want to be sitting alone in like Cape Town hotel, and just being sad and miserable, and then not even be able to see anybody.
Stalk us.
Yeah. If I don't get any videos, or if I call you, it's like no answer. I was like, well, great.
Oh my god, damn
anyway, we will come back to you in a few weeks, maybe how this went on. If of course whenever we travel again.
Yeah, now we're fine. No one's traveling anyway.
Exactly.
So you can watch me all you want.
From like the office down to the living room. It's like, I don't know. You should check Noah. He's kind of in the corner. All right, let's move on, maybe, guys. We promise you we will answer and make way more questions today. So this is your chance. This was just kind of our take now for the last, half an hour roughly. But we are super excited now to also hear from you guys.
We never drank our wine.
You might have noticed. Okay. I did. I'm almost done. I think you didn't.
I didn't really drink wine.
So cheers again.
Just stalking each other.
Or maybe not stalking each other anymore.
Maybe not stalking. The end of stalking.
Okay. All right, guys. Let's see. This is your chance. Let's see if we can get to some of your questions. Okay, you're still answering our security issue. Okay.
Okay.
That's fair.
There are people saying that they check. I think Safi do Camilos.
Yeah.
So she checks her security camera when she's at work all the time. Not because she doesn't trust her husband, but she wants to make sure the kids are okay. Yeah.
Perfect. So, guys, what do you got there for us? Any questions? Let's see.
Is it bad that I always have my boyfriend drive us?
Where?
Just driving in the car. Is that what you mean?
Not sure.
Okay.
Any advice for people who are just starting to date and don't know what their boundaries are? Well, that's a good point.
Starting today in the relationship.
I guess so. I mean, for me, I guess the first thing was like, well, you need to work on establishing boundaries. That's where communication comes in, right? I mean, depending on what topics, of course. I guess in this case, it's around the privacy topic. Mm-hmm. Two things. I think we made this point in one of the last videos. You need to know what you really want, right? Because you need to have, of course, what is really important to you. What are your kind of expectations, right? There's no point in just asking the other person like what they want to do. If it doesn't really coincide with what you really feel comfortable. So you need to know, okay, what are the kind of level or elements, let's say, of security that you need to really trust somebody? Mm-hmm. Are you, for example, completely okay with if you look at somebody's face and they tell you I'm not doing anything. I love you only, and forever. Okay, if that's enough for you, that's great. That's it. But if of course you need more assurances because of, let's say, your past, as we said earlier, then maybe think about that first and then bring it up. Talk about it. That's the most important thing. You need to talk about it. There's no other way, right? So if you're not clear about a boundary on a certain topic,
and
find out.
Yeah, and I think you also learn from the time in the relationship, the experiences that you have together, because there's no handbook. There's nothing. There's no checklist of this is all we need to talk about before we go into this relationship regarding privacy. You will come to find out as you go along. And I'm saying that because one of the examples of something we've developed is now that we can't open each other's letters.
Oh yeah,
we can't literally. If a mail or a parcel comes and it has my name, I don't care if I am away for a month. David is not touching it. The same way.
Unless you specifically ask me or tell me, like, okay, please, because that's important. But
that's important. Yeah, there's vice versa as well. Like, David can travel on his business trip. When he gets back, all his mails, his letters, parcels, anything that has his name on it is remaining sealed. And that's something that we discussed. We've been doing this now since before we got married.
Yeah.
And the experience that led to that.
Remind me?
No, we talked about it in one of the finance thing when we started off with our finances.
Yeah.
And I had no money at some point. So there's a bill, like a bill came in.
Yes.
Like I had no money because like I'd gotten married and my dad said like traditionally like he's not paying anything for me anymore. So I was supposed to be my husband's responsibility, which is a load of crap, but in that time I was my husband's responsibility. My husband, who's from a different culture, didn't know that he was supposed to be like paying all my stuff for a grown-ass woman. So he didn't, and I was too proud to ask him for any money. So I kept my mouth shut. My dad wasn't giving me any money. David wasn't giving me money. Yeah. I was still in med school, so I had no money. And then my phone bills accumulated. And I think one day David opened my letter and he was like, what the hell is this? Anyway, we talked about it. Saving grace anyway. You saw the letter. We had the uncomfortable conversation about money. Yeah. But from that day forward, I was like, do not touch my letters ever again. And I'm not going to touch your letters ever again.
On the other hand, we also had the conversation, like, if there's any money problems, you need to tell me. Yeah. Like, don't hide behind an uncomfortable topic like this, because we can solve it together. Exactly. So it solved two topics.
It solved two topics, yeah. So since then, but that's something that the experience taught us, that experience made me realize the boundaries. It helped me realize this particular boundary, that when it comes to like my mail, I don't want anybody looking at it. So I couldn't have known that without that experience.
Yeah, very good.
Sorry, we've been taking just one question.
Okay, guys, any other question? Let's see what we got here. Any experience maybe you want to share? What to do if the person you're with loves you more than you love them? That's a good question, actually. Well, it depends how this manifests itself, right?
Loves you more than you love them. You see, that's a very difficult one. It's something we say as very cute, right? Like when I say I love you, you're like, I love you more. And I was like, no, I love you more. Yeah. It's very cute, but really, there's no way to measure it. I think it's just a feeling. Yeah. It's a feeling. Like, if you're feeling that way, then I think that person has given you a reason to feel that way. We're all...
Yeah.
Well,
it also depends. It's hard to ever kind of to know or kind of evaluate. Okay, who loves each other more? Like, I think they're more. I would normally ask you. Okay, so how exactly do you kind of make that judgment? How do you know that, for example, right? Because of course there are some things that you can say that this manifests itself. That yes, I'll probably say like, well, then maybe it's not the right thing for you, right? If there's a huge difference or discrepancy in the seriousness of this relationship, then maybe, it might be better to move on. But of course, if they're just things, okay, one person is more ready to talk about, let's say, the next step, the next thing, and you're not yet or something, that of course is something that can develop over time. I mean, that can happen, and it's actually, I would say, not normal, but it's okay sometimes actually, that, one person is just maybe a little bit more ready for something and more serious, and seeing it was even in our case, was seeing things a little earlier, but that doesn't mean that the other person can't catch up. So I can't unfortunately see now who asked the question earlier, but like, you might still be able to catch up if it's just about maybe you're not quite there yet, but they're not fundamental differences about the relationship.
Yeah.
That's kind of, it depends how it manifests itself.
Yeah.
Right?
I agree. 100%. Yeah.
Cool. What do we got, guys? Guys, any other questions we have? Somebody wants to know what lipstick you're wearing.
Oh, in the previous video, that was Ruby Woo. That was Mac Ruby Woo.
There you go.
In the last video, yeah.
What else?
Somebody said, how do you split bills as a married couple? We have a whole video about that, because I don't really want us to go into it now. There is a video.
We might actually do a revised version.
We'll do a revised version. Yeah.
I think might be good.
It's a whole topic on its own, finance in a relationship.
Yeah.
I think let's save that for a different video.
All right. I mean, I think bottom line is we split bills, right?
Oh yeah.
Now the details, of course, just to be clear, like of course we split bills, right, as a family.
Yeah.
But yeah, we can probably go into a bit more details and maybe also like the way how we got there, because of course not one of the things you sit down at the very it's kind of second, third date, and you're like, okay, so, you know.
Yeah, we're splitting bills.
And obviously, you grow in life, you know, as a person and as a couple, you get to new levels, new positions, you know, the sizes, let's say, changes. So, yeah, but we can talk about it in more detail. Of, let's say, available cash flow.
I was like, what's that?
And of course, costs. And of course, costs, by the way.
No, sorry, my mind was even going somewhere.
Okay, right. I hear you. Anyway,
to navigate money.
Yes, exactly. No, we will definitely do it. It's still part of, I think, what we want to talk about for sure.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we still have lots of the topics. Yeah. What else do we got? Any other questions?
What do you do if your partner never gets mad at you, even when you did something wrong?
Tell me about it.
What does that
Tell me about it.
I'm laughing at the fact that, like, there are lots of people that will be so happy that they have that to get a partner that, you know, isn't that reactive, and then
tell them about it.
Tell them about what they do.
How does it feel to have a partner who's hardly ever reacts to anything?
Yeah, I know.
At least emotionally, not like
in an angry way. Whining. It can really wind you up.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, you're not appreciating like what luxury that is.
No, eventually I did. Well,
okay.
Now I do. In the beginning, I'm just like, you know. And Dad was like, I think we should talk about this like adults. Like,
well, but somebody has to be the balance, right?
Why?
The pendulum.
I'm like, please. Anyway, that's a whole different conversation.
How to solve arguments.
That's a whole different conversation.
Oh, that's going to be an interesting one. That's going to be juicy. Just to let you know. All right. What else do we got? I would say probably one or two more questions.
Okay.
What else do we got?
Oh, someone said I just got mad at my boyfriend because of something I told him, and he went and told his brother while I thought it would just stay between us. What do you think must stay only between the couple?
Oh.
Do you know, experience is the best teacher, because honestly, we've also experienced a couple of things in our relationship that has led us to talk about what then stays and what needs to go.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Because just generally speaking, I come from a background where you keep everything to yourself. You don't really share things.
Right.
David comes from
the opposite.
Where they share everything. And so for me, who is not used to that, just having my story repeated to me at a family gathering, I'm just like, I'm sorry, what, David?
Yeah.
But anyway, we've then had a conversation as far as when it comes to like finances, anything that we're buying, we're paying for, we're investing in, it stays between us. Like we're not, he's not allowed to tell his family, I'm not allowed to tell my family, except it's something we've already done and we jointly we agree to tell them. But when it comes to like the kids' personal day-to-day life and how we're doing, we're allowed to share that. But
I think your first point like is absolutely spot on. Like saying like you can never have a full list of things you kind of present to your partner saying, hey, these are the things you're not allowed to talk to. These list of people.
Yeah,
you have to kind of, this is something that just evolves with time. Like, you know, when you face something, of course, when it happens, I think the important point is like in this case, you need to address it, right? I mean, if you're comfortable with it, please tell them like, hey, this is the kind of thing I'd rather you not share even with your brother. But
but I was thinking also when you then understand that somebody's from a whole different culture as you, like in our case.
yeah.
I think one of the things I've even openly told you is, well, maybe ask me before you share that news. Like, let it not flow so easily from your mouth because it's not your story to tell. It's mine.
And it also helped, especially, actually, it's a good point, especially, of course, where maybe the views or the whole cultures are so different. It's important to also then explain why and open up. You need to, like, you know, I think you were able to tell me like a couple of stories and experiences, of course, to make me understand where you're coming from. Because if you just say, this is not what I like or what I do, it's like, for me then, coming from a completely different background or experience, like, yeah, but why would you not, like, you know, I wouldn't get it. But like, so I think also you were able to really highlight and explain to me by sharing experiences like why this is the case. And I was like, oh, okay, fair enough. And
so to go back, your boyfriend might have not intended to upset you. He's probably just come from a culture where that's okay to share whatever it is you told him. But if you didn't like it, then you have to have that conversation. Well, maybe ask me next time.
Yeah.
Because you can't be lacking things to talk with your self and with your family members. You can talk about yourself all day, that's fine, but the fact that I'm dating you or I'm married to you doesn't mean that my whole life is now like you know, your family is privy to that. We have to discuss if we're okay sharing that news. So
very good.
Communication, guys.
Again,
communication.
It's always
David seems like he doesn't get mad.
I hardly ever do, I have to really say. And the funny thing is, I think even the difference is like, even if I inside me kind of am mad, I show it in very interesting ways.
Yeah, he says it very different.
Certainly in a completely different way than Adanna would, or I think a lot of people would. So I get mad, don't get me wrong, I get mad, okay, or sometimes I'm not gonna, you know, but then I don't show it in the same, I have a different way of showing it necessarily. I don't get mad in the way you would expect. I don't shout, for example, or anything like this, you know.
Babe, I don't shout either. Well, I used to shout.
This was not about comparing to you. I was just talking about myself.
I think it's the guilt that's making me defend myself.
Exactly. If you have something to say like this, like, oh, really? You don't? You're like,
no.
Why do you have to like
defend yourself? Yourself. I was a shouter, not anymore.
Yeah,
I once was a shouter, but not anymore.
Okay.
I've not even had a glass of wine.
Anyway, guys, we might be doing one last question. And then we also probably will call it quits. We are getting close to, well, it's actually the 10 o'clock p.m. now on our end. What do we got here? What other question? Last question, guys. Make it a good one.
How do you plan on educating your kids about relationships? Will they be able to date? I think that's an interesting question to finish with. Good question. So I obviously come from separate family backgrounds where I was literally not allowed to, like, it's one of these unspoken things. No, my parents never said to me, never you date any man. But it's one of these unspoken cultural norms that my parents literally did not know or meet anybody that had anything to do with except David. So,
can you imagine?
You know, so the dating thing was a bit like weird. From David's side of the family, of course, from when they're 14, 15, 16, it's like, this is my boyfriend, 16. This is my girlfriend. 16. But your boyfriend or girlfriend was allowed to come into the house.
Of course. My parents met every girlfriend I had, and
I said your boyfriend or girlfriend may come in. Not your
boyfriend or my girlfriend.
So,
whatever.
Because I was thinking about
whatever floats your boat.
So, but now, okay, so I'm in this position, and the question is, how are we going to educate our kids? Now,
I think
this is a word for Nigerian parents out there.
I think actually most African parents.
No, I'm not going to generalize. I'm going to stick to my own circumstance.
All right.
I'm going to use myself as an example. Okay. As a Nigerian girl who knew that her family did not want her to date.
Go for it.
But as a Nigerian girl who dated many boys.
And knew that was important.
Yes.
Because otherwise we would have never had ended up with each other.
Yeah, exactly. How would
you know that? Yeah. If you did not actually had gone through the experiences that are important to know what you want in life. Yeah. You can never find the right person.
Exactly.
That's at least what I truly
my
believe.
thing with Nigerian parents when it comes to dating, you guys are like ostriches burying your head in the sand, because while you're thinking that your angel daughter is not dating anybody, she's dating many boys, and it's my realization that it's better for you to know what your children are up to than for you to not know what
Well,
they're
and
up
also
to.
give them the support. I mean, there's an element of also, you know, I mean, again, of course, don't get me wrong, not everybody necessarily has a rosy relation with their parents, regardless of your culture.
Yeah.
Let me just be clear. I also had many, many friends back in Germany, where I'm from, obviously, that did not even have that level of relation with their parents. So it's not even just about culture, right? But of course, there's an element of generally culture of Europe and Africa, maybe. But I also generally think at that age group, you're going through something so important for your life in the future and challenging. I mean, everybody knows there's a reason why you talk about these teenage years or early 20s can be the most challenging in life, right? But on the other hand, they are probably some of the most defining years of your life. Certainly they were for me. So you not being there for your child with one of the biggest parts, let's say, of growing up with which is this kind of romantic side or getting to know the other kind, you know, whatever you're interested in or whatever, like, I also feel like it's a huge lost opportunity as a parent to be there for your child and help them navigate and teach them values.
Yeah.
I mean, again, I also, of course, even from your response, of course, yes, from an African culture, there's a huge difference between boys and girls. And since so far, we only have boys. Of course, it's a completely different question. I think it's a no-brainer, at least. I mean, I think we're on the same page. Like, of course, the boys will have to date. But for me, also, even if we had a girl, I want her to date.
I want her to date.
As strange as it might sound, like, absolutely. She needs to know what she ultimately wants and what's best for her. And you can't know that unless you actually make some experiences. It's simple. It's really, for me, that simple.
And you know, I feel like even a lot of girls that might have been in, like, you know, very bad relationships that weren't serving them or helping them grow or were abusive, there is some sort of, you know, fear or respect that comes into whoever, let's just say a girl in our case. If the boy, or if the parents know who the boy is, or he's met the parents, I'm rambling. If the boy has met the parents, he would have this fear of, you know what, I can't actually just mess up because...
Right, because that's a big thing, right?
I will get in trouble because her parents know who I am, right? But there's an element of that.
Yeah, true.
Of like children being scared to do something funny or stupid because they know that, well, they have
but of course the risk with that is that you also end up forcing a lot of early stage relationships, right? Because of that societal pressure now, right? Into something that is just deemed for failure. Versus maybe if that societal pressure wasn't there, something like this, we're like, oh, now I've met our parents, we basically have to get married. There's no way around it anymore.
Oh, Jesus,
you know? No, but you know that happens a lot.
Yeah, I know.
Right? So versus maybe if that wasn't around, that couple might have split up eventually and might have found somebody else they're actually getting happy with in the future. You know, so again, it's probably because of the way I grew up and everything. I agree, it's my culture. I am white. I'm from Germany. But I also had very, very, very great parents and a very close relation with them. I just personally believe it's so important that you make the experiences. Only then you know what you need in a partner, and only then you can actually be the best partner to somebody else. Because you also make a lot of mistake as a partner in relationships to others. Yeah. Like I think we all have done. I've certainly made mistakes. And I believe everybody, if they're honest to themselves, have made their own mistakes to somebody else in a relationship. But if you don't know that, if you don't make the mistakes, you can't then rectify them for the one person you finally meet where you really want to do your best. Yeah. And you'll still make some mistakes. But at least you can, prevent some of you've already made. So I think for both sides, knowing what you need in the other side, but also knowing for yourself how to be the best partner, you need to make the experiences. If you generally just have one boyfriend and you marry that person, then it's difficult for me to imagine that is really going to end up in the kind of the most happy, fulfilling relationship you could ever have. That's just my personal view.
Yeah, but some people get lucky. Okay. Bye.
Anyway, guys,
this brings us to the end.
Yes, it is time again. We are definitely reached the time.
Just to end a very hilarious comment, someone said, if my parents knew the amount of boys I dated, they would faint.
I think a lot of people have that kind of situation.
African girls, Nigerian girls, because we're the ones who the culture kind of like tries to subdue.
Yeah, true.
Or like, oh, don't do this. It's okay if the boys date, but not the girls. Marriage material, all that stuff. We are dating. Let me tell you. Anyway.
All right, guys, thank you so much for tuning in for another live Wednesday session. We hope you enjoyed the topic, of course. Again, make sure to subscribe if you haven't done so already. Leave
follow
a
us on
comment.
Instagram as well.
Follow us on Instagram. Leave a comment, obviously, down below, and like the video. But thanks so much, and we should see you next Wednesday, same place, same time on our channel. Have a great rest week. How did you say it was? What day?
Have a good rest week.
No, hump day.
Hump day. Happy hump day.
Happy hump day, and enjoy the rest of your week. Something I learned today. No, you knew.
Okay,
All right,
bye.
see you guys. Bye bye.